Hi, this is the PP. Then in this podcast, I want to talk about internal versus external locus of control. And by the way, I'm going for my first 500 likes. So if you like my content up to this point, please help me do this a favor and click that like button if you see it on YouTube, or if you see it on Spotify, just add this to your favorites as well. Okay, so in this topic, I'd like to talk about this internal versus external point of control. I live in Thailand, and in Thailand, there's a lot of people here, the locals basically, just about everyone, they do something called tambon in Thai. And what tambon really means, I cannot find an exact translation to it, but many of the Thais, they refer this to making merit. So if you're wondering what is making merit, M-E-R-I-T, and if you ever heard of that, if you heard a Thai friend speak about that, it's basically this. Okay, so what making merit really is that the Thai people, they would go to places of worship such as temples, or they would and they would basically give up alms in the form of, it could be donation, it could be food, it could be like a ceremony, or where they would basically fast and abstain in the presence or without the presence of the monks. And it can also be done in instances where they purchase fish, and this typically like catfish, and they would go to a nearby lake or river and release them, or sometimes it could be tortoises as well. Okay, and other occasions they would be going to orphanages and places such as nursing homes, places for abandoned children, and they would basically buy a meal for the people there, or buy them, let's say if they've been eating only vegetarian most of the time, not because they're vegetarian, but because there's no funds to buy meat, then they would contribute, let's say a couple of meals worth of meat, for instance. So all this adds up to this whole thing about merit making in Thailand. And in Thailand, there's also a phrase that people tend to say, or an expression that people say. They would be like ทำบุญด้วยอะไรที่ทำให้ดูดีแบบนี้ so it means that what kind of merit do you do that makes you look so good. Okay, so there is this mindset here that the more of this merit making that you do, the better your life will become. Well, this is a little bit of a paradox issue as well, because I personally, I'm Catholic, okay, and Christians and Catholic alike, we believe in tithing, and there are people who do not like to tithe as much, but generally for those who do, there's one undeniable fact, is that when you see that the tithing that you're doing is affecting community for good, it brings pleasure that you want to do more. So a lot of the high earners that I know actually tithe, which is not any different at all for the culture of merit making in Thailand. Now, how is this related to internal or external locus of control? Well, it's totally related, because something along with merit making is that a lot of the Thai people that I come in contact with, when they come into a rut in life, they would start to think, okay, is it because I did not do the contributions to society that I had promised when I prayed? Because they tend to believe that everything comes in a trade-off. Okay, for this, you do this. It's reciprocity. When the reciprocity was not being given, they feel a sense of guilt. Okay, and another thing that the Thais also do a lot is that they have a lot of house blessings, because they believe that in the absence of house blessings, there could be wandering spirits. Okay, as a Catholic and a Christian, I tend not to believe in that, but it's interesting how a recent statement by my wife, who is Buddhist, I wouldn't say like a strict Buddhist, but more like a lot of Thai people who worship various gods. Okay, so that is something I would say like a personal preference for a lot of people. I would rather not to comment on that. But one thing in particular that really got me, that made me want to make this video here, is when she said that, recently she was afflicted by, she and her friends who were in my house, they saw a ghost. Okay, I wouldn't want to say it was hallucination or they really saw a ghost or whatever, but anyway, for their own peace of mind, my wife brought a medium home, against my wishes, of course, and did some praying and sprinkling of water, which I immediately doused over holy water. I know it kind of sounds funny, right? But after that, she also shared with me something that she was told by the medium, which is that from this point on, your life is unblocked. Up to this point, you have been blocked. So the very next day, when I was doing my regular daily manifestation, because I do a program called Simpleology, which is my productivity planner, and at the same time my manifesting system that I use, because it gives me a lot of very good business related growth messages on a day-to-day basis. So after my manifestation, I was getting into my work regime, and it was a day where there was a lot of calls that came in. Again, it was another day where people called me chasing for contracts. Okay, so it was a day similar to about 2 weeks ago, also coming to the end of a week, when I was being chased for details, chased for quotations, chased for SEOs and FCOs and Zooms with the suppliers, so on and so forth. And my wife said, you see, this is the result of the medium coming to the house and taking away the bad energies. So I had a very, very different idea, okay, regardless of your own personal belief, because the topic of this video or podcast is internal versus external locus of control. I believe that I work hard, therefore I have good luck. I believe that luck doesn't simply come to people out of pure coincidence. I personally believe that when you are clear about your purpose and the things that you want to support your purpose and your goal, your mind will naturally have a more magnetic effect. And also, I believe in the power of the universal law of attraction as well. Because when you have the attention, it will cause you to magnetize all the like-minded thought, all the like energies that are out there. Like I mentioned when I said energies, not necessarily have to be thought, but also energies. For example, what that could be is that, negativity is definitely not an energy that you want to attract. On the other hand, when you have a path focus in life, when you are clear about what you want, you would tend to exude a different kind of charisma, or rather, you would exude charisma as opposed to projecting negativity to the people around you. So between a person who is exuding charisma and a person who is, just, a blob of black, dark energy, who do you think in a room situation people would go to? The person with charisma or not? Okay, when I say charisma, again, I'm not talking about in terms of ways whether, a person is a charismatic speaker or not. But would you even know? Or in case you did not know, even if you're not a good speaker, a person with a mission and a firm belief in himself is a lot more capable than a person who is simply learning techniques of being a speaker. I've come across people that about age 40, and about age 40, people would typically have gone through many different experiences in life. With all these experiences in life and different people that have been met through the years, okay, you would naturally be able to model many behaviors at will because you would instantly have references out there. So all it really takes, and this is interesting because, I know some of my friends who have recently gone from very background working industries into the front line. And interestingly enough, actually doing pretty good. For example, I've seen some of them, making advertisements for their business in Facebook Live, in YouTube Live, in TikTok. And I was wondering, oh my goodness, I've never imagined that you could possibly be such a great speaker. It's interesting what path certainty can do. Because my phone battery is running low right now, I want to bring this up to a close. And I hope I've been able to engage and actually help to, create some ideas for thinking. Okay? So there are a couple of things that we can work upon. If you're listening to this podcast and, if these things have been making sense so far and you would like to be able to work on having an internal locus of control, okay, it really starts from self-respect and path certainty. Know what you want to do. This takes back to things I've mentioned in my previous podcast. You need to have like your short-term, medium-term, long-term goals. Okay? And if long-term is a bit too far off, well, have some short-term goals for the next 3 months and some medium-term goals for the next 6 to 9 months and have that out. Then you want to work backwards on how you can actually plan to achieve them. Now, you also need to start believing that you can achieve these goals. So, pertaining to these goals that you have on hand, okay, I would like you to come up with a list of 10 reasons why you can achieve these things, and let's say these 10 reasons could also be, if you're wondering how to come up with these 10 reasons, well, think about why is it that you are the person and why you are most deserving of accomplishing these things. What makes you worthy, okay? Because the same reasons why you can do it are also the reasons why you are worthy of this. Okay, and this also tracks down to self-respect. If you're having some issues coming up with 10 reasons, how about along with some ideas of the path that you're taking, some of those 10 things could be things you like about yourself. Self-importance is so important for this. And the other thing as well is that self-happiness is so important for you being able to get there. Knowing that you can be happy from this very point, not even 3 months from now when you hit your short-term goals, not even 6 to 9 months from now when you hit your medium-term goals, that you can be happy. Even from now, you can be happy. Your happiness does not depend on then. Why? Because it tracks back to positivity. The happiness is internally generated and manifested from things every day, every moment, and even now. Even now, when you bring a smile to your face, even if it's fake, it's interesting how that can immediately boost your energy. If you do not believe in what I'm saying, head to a mirror or a glass reflective surface right now, a reflective surface, and let's say if it's your computer monitor, just put on a smile right now. And take notice of how it's instantly changing your mood. You're not yet successful as you want to be, but that smile alone is making you know that you can generate the state of mind that you want to be in. And this is extremely useful, and this will help you to a very, very great extent to helping you get to those short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals, and also to become a more charismatic person. And whether or not you want to do charity, I think charity is great because, there is a big joy in giving. And when you give and you see the faces of appreciation, it just makes you want to be able to do more and more each time around. How can I be successful, more successful than today, so that the next time I can benefit even more people? How can I contribute not just a day of meat for these people, but a week of meat for these people? How can I, influence these people not just on a one-time thing, but to give them repeat exposures to inspiration so that the people living in these homes can adopt a new way of thinking, so that even though they've been abandoned, even though they're orphaned, even though their families are not contributing to them, that they can be a person that is strong by themselves. And even though they're living inside a nursing home and basically living on donation, they can be their own strong, happy, powerful people and be free one day. Wouldn't that be awesome? So my friends, once again, I think I need to bring this to a close, because if I drag this any longer, this recording is just going to get cut and it may not get saved properly. If you like my content, please give me a like and a subscribe. And I think of these topics on a very spontaneous basis, but if there's something that comes along to mind with regards to today's topic, or let's say a topic that you'd like to hear me speak about, do put that in the comments section that you see down below if you're on YouTube, for instance. And by the way, I've also left the links for my various social avenues out here so that you can just click and access it. And again, this is the PPE Dad, and my main business is in brokering PPE supplies. And I, in the last 2 years, have come across many different obstacles in order to just get to the world's best, most legit sources of PPE supplies. So I would love to be able to help you connect to some of the best reliable suppliers so that your first deals will go through successfully and you can manifest all the great things that you have envisioned for yourself and your family in the next few weeks and months to come. Thank you for listening.